ladies, this is Diane Nix with Contagious Joy, and we're here with Susie Hawkins, and she is our Spotlight Pastor's Wife for this month. We'll be looking at her book, From One Ministry Wife to Another, Honest Conversations about Ministry Connections. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this for me.
Thank you, of course.
Really, really grateful. Also, the first time that I saw you in OS, walking down the hall in the convention, I went, oh, there's Susie Hawkins in OS. And it was such...
That's sad. Well, I'm taking that in a good way.
It was
so
a very good way.
Yeah.
It was a very good way. I watched you and respected you through the years, and we're not that much different in age. I just really respected who you were. And so today I'm really glad that I have an opportunity just to let these other ladies get to know you. So I just wanted you to tell us a little bit about your story. And by that, how did you come to Christ? And just share what you write a little bit about in your book about your ministry calling.
Well, I was very blessed to be raised in a Christian home with parents, Baptist, active in the Baptist church, and grandparents that were believers, and had all those early church Baptist experiences that so many of us have had in church, and became a believer, a follower of Christ when I was 10, baptized. And I will say it took me a while to figure out the whole Christian life thing. It took me quite a while. I thought you just don't drink and don't have sex before you're married and you're done. And so I did find out there's much more to it than that. My husband and I met when I just graduated from high school, and he was already in youth ministry, and we started dating, and eventually got married. So he was already in the ministry when we got married. And I've often laughed and said that meant that most of our dating life, our Friday nights, were at middle school boy go-kart things, middle school retreats, all that. So I knew what I was getting into. So my call to ministry, while I felt that the Lord had something for me, I never felt that huge individual call like a lot of women do at camp or a college conference or something like that. And after listening to women throughout the years, pastors' wives, I found some have that very dramatic kind of calling on their own individual life, and some don't. It doesn't really matter how the call comes, but you know that there is that call in your life.
Absolutely.
So mine was more in line with my husband's call. And when he asked me to marry him, I figured, and that would be a call. Right?
Absolutely.
So
because you believed it was the man you were supposed to marry, and submitting to what God has had.
And yes, and I do believe that if the husband is called, then the wife is called as well, by virtue of the fact in Genesis 2, when they're married, they become one flesh.
Absolutely.
And so I do believe that sometimes I think wives become confused with the call to ministry being mistaken for being employed by the church, and that just because you're called to ministry does not mean you're employed by the church or you're somebody's servant that you have to do things for them. So it's more of a philosophical approach.
I agree with that, and I appreciate your sharing your heart on that, because I think that it's so important for us as women to understand that our first call and priority in ministry is obviously to our husbands, to the Lord first, but then to our husbands and supporting him in the role that he has in that ministry, and that we're not on the payroll of the church, unless they want to give us a check.
I don't count on it.